General Hospital spoilers reveal that Jason is gradually realizing the undeniable signs of aging, something he had previously thought would never become an issue. Throughout his life, he has lived by the warrior's code, always faster, stronger, and smarter than anyone daring to face him. But now, time is slowly eroding the skills that once made him a legend in Port Charles. The reflexes that once were instinctive are no longer as sharp. His punches no longer carry the force to take down an opponent with one blow, and at times, his decisions no longer carry the certainty they once did. Those close to Jason are beginning to notice this change, even though he tries to hide it. Carly, who has always seen Jason as her strongest protector, begins to worry as she witnesses his delayed reactions in high-stress situations. Sunny, who once regarded Jason as his irreplaceable right-hand man, is now beginning to question whether his best friend still has what it takes to maintain his status as an invincible warrior. Even Jason's enemies are starting to recognize that time is no longer on his side. But what haunts Jason the most is not the physical decline, but the loss of control. His whole life has been built on absolute certainty. Once Jason Morgan stepped in, things were resolved decisively. But now, his decisions are starting to falter. Plans that once seemed flawless now have fatal flaws. Those who once trembled at the mention of his name no longer fear him as they used to. They are starting to challenge him, pushing him into dangerous situations, because they know that Jason today is not the same as the Jason of the past. The question Jason constantly asks himself is, does he still have the strength to continue? Can he accept the fact that he is no longer at his peak? Or will he push himself to the limit to prove that he is still the invincible man he once was? But the reality is that the harder he tries to prove himself, the more danger he puts himself in. Tasks that he once could accomplish with ease have become more perilous than ever. One wrong move could cost him his life, and this time, no one may be fast enough to save him as they once were. The obsession with aging is not only affecting Jason's combat skills but is also seeping into his mind, shaking his inherent confidence. He is no longer certain that he can continue protecting those he loves, and that is his greatest fear. If he can no longer protect Carly, Sunny, Michael, or anyone close to him, then what is his role in Port Charles? A new shock is awaiting Jason, and this time, it's not coming from a specific enemy but from within himself. He will have to face the fact that time is changing everything, even the person he once thought would never change. And the biggest question now is, what will Jason do next? Will he accept the truth and find a new path, or will he continue fighting knowing that he is no longer the same? Port Charles is about to witness a major turning point in Jason Morgan's life. Whether he wants to or not, time keeps moving forward, and no one, not even Jason, can escape that reality forever. But one thing is certain, no matter what happens, Jason will not easily back down. And that's what makes his story more compelling than ever. Viewers are becoming increasingly worried as Jason's condition worsens, pushing him into a situation he has never faced before. The signs of both physical and mental weakness are becoming more evident, and that is causing everything around him to spiral out of control. Once a cold, fearless warrior, always at the forefront of every confrontation, Jason is now facing a challenge even he couldn't have predicted. Time is beginning to beat him. In the past, Jason was always a symbol of strength, a man who never made mistakes in strategy or action. His decisions were always precise, his battles always ended in victory, and his enemies never had a chance to counterattack. But now, that is no longer true. The battles that once he could end in seconds are now dragging on unusually. Enemies who once wouldn't dare confront him are now appearing more confident, as if they sense a change in him, a weakness that never existed before. Those around him can't help but notice the difference. Carly, who always trusted that Jason would be her rock, is now beginning to feel uneasy. She realizes that Jason no longer makes swift, sharp decisions like before, and that makes her feel insecure. Sunny, who has fought countless life-or-death battles alongside Jason, is also starting to doubt whether Jason can still maintain his position. When someone like Sunny starts to worry about something, it's clear that it's serious. But the most frightening thing is how Jason's storyline is gradually being controlled by these changes. He is no longer the one in charge. Now, it seems he is being swept up into situations he can't control. The schemes, the dangers that he once could easily dismantle, are now traps from which he can't escape. His former enemies are waiting for the right moment to strike because they know that the Jason of today is no longer the Jason of yesterday. The obsession with aging and weakness is weighing down on Jason in ways he didn't anticipate. He's used to being the strongest, the one who never fails, but now, he is beginning to feel his limitations. A delay of even 1 second could lead to serious consequences. A punch that no longer has enough force could cost him his life. And worse still, the people he loves are starting to wonder whether he can still protect them. The biggest question now is, what will Jason do next? Will he accept the truth that time is catching up with him and find a way to adapt, or will he keep throwing himself into battles that he's not sure he can win? If he doesn't act soon, he may face the greatest disaster of his life, a fight that this time, he may not have the strength to win. The tension is escalating, and Port Charles is witnessing a different version of Jason, a man who is no longer invincible. But does that mean Jason's era is over? Or will he find a way to overcome the greatest challenge of his life? One thing is certain, Jason's future is no longer as certain as it once was, and Port Charles is about to witness a battle unlike any before. Jason may be losing control, but if there's one thing he has proven throughout his life, it's that he never gives up. The question is, this time, can he rise again and fight once more, or will this be the final chapter in the legend of Jason? Jason has never been one to easily express his emotions, but when faced with loss, he cannot hide the deep pain inside him. The death of Sam was already a huge wound, making him collapse into the silence of unspoken sorrow. But now, with Carly, the person he has always considered family, an inseparable part of his life, gone, Jason realizes that he has nothing left to lose. Everything in his life seems to have crumbled in the blink of an eye, and this time, he isn't sure if he can rise again. Carly wasn't just Jason's closest friend, she was the only one who truly understood him in a way no one else could. She had always stood by his side, even when the whole world turned its back on him. She was the one he trusted, the one he always protected, the one he was ready to sacrifice everything for to keep safe. But now, she's gone, and that reality is pushing Jason into a chasm he's unsure he can escape from. The pain of loss, still fresh, soon turns into a burning fury within him. Someone killed Carly, and Jason cannot accept that. This is not just a personal loss, it's a declaration of war. Whoever dared to take away the most important person in his life, Jason will not stop until he finds the one behind it and brings justice to Carly. But this time, Jason is no longer the cold, calculating warrior he once was. He's acting with a broken heart, and that makes him more dangerous than ever. Carly's death has changed everything. Before, Jason always thought carefully, calculating every move to ensure his actions would bring the best results. But now, he no longer has the time for patience. He cannot wait for his enemies to make a mistake. He will not continue playing cat and mouse with those hiding in the shadows. He will act immediately, and this time, he will not stop until everyone connected to Carly's death is gone. Jason's enemies once thought time had weakened him, that the losses in his life had dulled his sharpness. But they were wrong. Carly's death didn't make Jason weaker, it made him a man with nothing left to lose, someone who feared nothing. And when a man like Jason Morgan has nothing left to lose, he becomes the worst nightmare of anyone who dares to face him. Port Charles is about to witness a battle and no one can predict. Carly's death hasn't only changed Jason's life, it's completely altered his storyline. No more hesitation, no more moral boundaries, just a man thirsty for revenge and a storm about to sweep through Port Charles. Can Jason control his rage, or will this loss push him down a path from which there's no return? One thing is certain, Port Charles will never be the same again, and those responsible for this tragedy will pay more than they could ever imagine. Jason is entering a phase of his life that even he can't predict, a darker time than ever before, where hatred, pain, and fury have transformed him into someone entirely different. After Carly's death, Jason's world has crumbled completely. The pain of loss is so overwhelming that he no longer thinks about anything other than revenge. But this time, Jason is no longer the cold-blooded killer with carefully laid plans. He's acting out of desperation, in an uncontrollable rage, and that's pushing him down a more dangerous road than ever. Sidwell and Brennan have become the only targets in Jason's mind. He believes they are the ones who took Carly from him, and nothing will stop him from taking them to the deepest depths of hell. But while Jason charges into this battle with uncontrollable fury, he doesn't realize one important thing: time has changed, and so has he. Before, Jason could defeat anyone in the blink of an eye. He was a warrior with lightning-fast reflexes, a man who never made mistakes in battle. But now, his body can no longer keep up with what his mind wants. His punches aren't as strong, his movements aren't as fast, and more importantly, the decisions he used to make with perfect precision now have small flaws he never used to make. His enemies notice this. They know that Jason is no longer invincible. They watch his every move, recognizing the lack of control in his steps, and that's made them more confident. Sidwell and Brennan are no amateurs. They are masters at manipulating and exploiting their enemies' weaknesses. They don't need to take Jason down themselves, they just need to lead him into the trap they've set. And Jason has done exactly what they hoped. He no longer has the patience to wait for the right opportunity. He no longer has the rationality to plan things out accurately. He throws himself into the battle with everything he has, but that is also his greatest weakness. For the first time in his life, Jason is overwhelmed. The confrontation between Jason and his enemies is not a typical battle. This isn't just a hand-to-hand fight, it's a psychological battle where Jason is no longer in control. For the first time, he feels powerless. He realizes that no matter how hard he tries, his body is no longer the same. The reflexes he once believed would never fade now slow down in the blink of an eye, but even a split second of delay is enough to put him in danger. Sidwell and Brennan don't miss that opportunity. They attack Jason not just with strength but with strategy. They wear him down, pushing him into situations from which he cannot escape. Jason was once an unbeatable warrior, but this time, he's no longer the one controlling the game. And then, the inevitable happens: Jason is defeated. No one could believe this day would come. The day when Jason Morgan, once the symbol of strength and power in Port Charles, is brought down. But the truth is, time waits for no one, and Jason is no exception. He's no longer at his peak, and this time, his enemies use that to win. Jason's defeat is not only a shock to him but a disaster for all of Port Charles. He's been the protector of this town for years, always standing between the criminal forces and the people he loves. But now, that protective wall has fallen. Without Jason, who will continue the fight? Who will keep Port Charles from falling into the hands of people like Sidwell and Brennan? But the most important question now is, what will Jason do next? Can he rise up after this defeat, or is this the end of the Jason Morgan legend? Can he find a way to adapt to the changes, or will he let his fury consume everything? Port Charles is about to witness a great shift, and whether Jason likes it or not, he can't escape this reality forever. This could be the beginning of an entirely new chapter in his life, a chapter full of loss, danger, and a journey to find himself again. But one thing is certain: if Jason can't stand up, this town will never be the same. And if Jason truly has lost himself, who will rise to replace him? Jason Morgan's era may have ended, but will he let it end this way? Will this be the final chapter of his story, or will this be the moment that pushes him to find the path he once belonged to? One thing is for sure: Port Charles is about to witness a battle greater than ever before, and whether he wins or loses, nothing will ever be the same again.